So this is my deload week, and I'm also dealing with a little tweak in my back. So today I'm going to show you how I'm going to modify today's strength workout to take those things into account. So what's a deload week? So first of all, when you're going through training, the goal is to progressively overload the body. So in order to get stronger, you have to add load. So you can either add weights, you can add repetitions. There's a lot of different ways, I guess not a lot of different ways, but there's several ways that you can add load to your training. Now, if you want to continue to build strength, you do have to continue to add. However, with that in mind, it's also important to give your body appropriate amounts of recovery to actually build back that strength. So usually what we like to do with our athletes is we build them up for a couple of weeks, and then we take a week where we kind of bring the training back down a little bit. And that deload week allows your body to recover and adapt and actually build the strength from those higher training load weeks. So I was already scheduled for a deload week this week, and then I kind of tweaked my back at the end of last week. So there's some things that are causing a little bit of pain, but what I want you to understand is that just because I'm having pain in my lower back does not mean I'm not doing anything. I'm just modifying and adjusting according to what is okay with my body right now.
All right, for this first set, I am only using the bar. So you can see there's no weights on the end of the bar. I'm just kind of testing out how my back feels here. So I've got a wider stance. I'm focusing on full range of motion to just assess what's going on in my back. I'm also focusing on a very slow, controlled movement, kind of going all the way down and seeing where I'm at. The second set, I added light weights to assess how my back felt with load. So that first set was really more of a warm-up. Now I'm adding a little bit of light weight on here. I probably cut my weight by about 30%, I would say 30 to 40%. Again, those slow controlled movements, focusing on muscle contraction and really getting into that. But I did notice some like tweakiness in my lower back, my left lower back, but it wasn't too bad. So then for this fourth set, I wanted to test out my range of motion and see how low I could go while still maintaining a pain-free range of motion. So I kept the weights light again and just limited my range of motion as well so that I wasn't going all the way down. So you can see I'm not going as low here. Okay, for my second exercise, I did one arm rows. And the key for one arm rows, especially with dealing with the back pain, is to keep your abs engaged and try to minimize trunk rotation. So here we're really focusing on your upper back muscles. And of course, we always do both sides because we want to stay balanced here. Okay, the next exercise I did was step ups. Now keep in mind the back pain that I was experiencing was on the left side. So it was interesting. Like this one didn't actually feel so great on my back. You can see me kind of stumble right there. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to hold on here. Because when I was stepping up with the right leg, it was causing pain in my left lower back. So I decided to hold on for some support and to offload the exercise just a bit. Again, meeting yourself where you're at is so important. And then, of course, I did the other side as well, focusing on those slow, controlled movements. I did not have pain on this side, which was kind of funky, but, you know, the human body is interesting sometimes. So always focusing on those slow, controlled movements, because the slower, especially when you go down slower, you're really engaging those muscles and requiring more control and stabilization. And then, of course, I was loving my 90s and 2000s hip-hop mix here, so I added a little quote-unquote hip mobility before the exercise. But this next exercise, lat pull-downs, so we're really focusing on pulling using the back muscles, not just the arms. So we want to, your latissimus is the huge muscle on your back. It really spans your whole back. So really focusing on pulling with those lats, maintaining good posture, maintaining good alignment here as well. And some more mobility, some little hip mobility. I was really jamming out to a really fun playlist. I'm a little bummed you guys don't get to hear it because of copyright issues, but a little holla back was the way to go here. So I ended the set with tricep push downs, really focusing on engaging my abs and engaging my core, keeping those arms tight against the body, focusing on those triceps, because when we focus on the arms, I knew it wasn't going to put too much pressure on my lower back. And then of course we're going to do a little mobility to kind of end the workout and have some fun here.
Okay, so the workout's done. So as you may have seen in some of those videos, for some of those exercises, I modified a couple of things. I modified the range of motion. So maybe I didn't do go as deep on my squat or do as much on my step ups or some of the other exercises that I did. I also dropped the weights on all of the exercises and I increased the repetitions a little bit. Okay, so I was not going to failure in any of my exercises, but since I dropped the weights down, I increased the reps a little bit, and I was super diligent about focusing on my form with every single exercise and making sure that I was activating my core, embracing the muscles to properly support my body during those exercises. I also skipped things like deadlifts, which I know typically have the tendency to aggravate this type of back pain, because this is not new. I've had this type of back pain before. It's my sacral iliac joint. So I know that deadlifts, and especially single leg deadlifts, have the tendency to aggravate that. So I did not do those today. I did not do any sort of box jumps or any of those things. So I avoided those. So I modified my workout to choose exercises that were not going to irritate my pain. I cut the load, and I also just modified the range of motion for each exercise. So if you are someone that is dealing with pain, it's important that you keep moving and you do what you're able to do within your pain tolerance. If you have any questions, just reach out. I'm happy to help you on your journey to recovery.